it is a race to the bottom because they know that these imported workers will take 5% less of whatever the market rate is, maybe 10%.
Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland of the Majority Report discuss in this clip Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, the H-1B visa controversy that's taking place now on the incoming administration, and make some good points about what the whole dialogue comes down to, why there is this rift in the right between what we think of as the sort of ultra MAGA side of the party and the more, I guess, executive suite or oligarch part of the party. I'm going to pepper in some comments of my own as we go. I'll watch it together with you, and then I want to know what you think in the comments, but let's take a listen.
Here is Elon Musk going back and fighting against people who have said to him, you are trying to optimize H-1B visas because this is how you make all your money, by basically exploiting these people and bringing them in. Now, they get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
But they probably don't get paid
market value.
And if they want to take vacation, or say they have something to do after work and they need to leave an hour early, well, maybe they're going to think twice about that because their immigration status is entirely dependent on their employer renewing it.
Yeah, let's say you work for a massive communications platform and then some crazy billionaire buys it out of nowhere and starts doing crazy stuff to it. But and you might say, like, this goes against my ethics, but it doesn't go against my visa, so I'm going to have to stick with that.
Exactly.
Here is Elon Musk really basically striking out at people. He doesn't like people using his platform to criticize him, apparently. All right, Elon, stop trying to optimize something that shouldn't exist. Everyone's been trained in high school and college, and you answer the question. Convenient logic. Here, let's listen to what the response is to.
The sort of 5-step process. First, make your requirements less dumb. Your requirements are definitely dumb. It does not matter who gave them to you. It's particularly dangerous if a smart person gave you the requirements, because you might not question them enough.
This is just engineering stuff,
right? No matter who you are, everyone's wrong some of the time. So make your requirements less dumb. Then try very hard to delete the part or process. This is actually very important. If you're not occasionally adding things back in, you are not deleting enough. Right. The bias tends to be very strongly towards let's add this part or process step in case we need it. But you can basically make in-case arguments for so many things, and for a rocket that is.
Okay. So the caption is just basically criticizing him, right, for
basically saying apply your engineering shtick to this immigration stuff.
Right, which is sociopathic. And he responded and took the side of Vivek, basically saying the reason I'm in America along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong is because of H-1B. Take a big step back and F yourselves in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. No. So that's the fissure, is in between the people. When we played that video earlier.
And that's also a tweet by the guy who recently said, hey, let's tone it down and be more nice on my platform.
Of that attack in New Orleans, that he's not white, but he's American, was born in Texas. It doesn't matter, though. They're making it an immigration problem. That is the fissure between the capitalist gods like Elon Musk, who are running the party, and the rank and file MAGA Republicans, rank and file Republicans, who are just nativists and racist, and they don't really care about what he's trying to say, which is like, don't you guys care that these visas help us make more money? Don't you care that we can bring in these people who are highly skilled and hold their immigration status over them so they can be the most productive workers for us and make all this money? But they're like, no, we don't care. That's what the Trump base says. We care about getting rid of the brown people and of the immigrants.
What is so fascinating about this is that Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, and I will, the Pink Lady has said, a reminder, Sam, when you're mispronouncing Vivek's name, that you all took issue with racist and sexist mispronouncing Kamala Harris's name. It's also just not it is not a very clever joke. I am not mispronouncing his name because I am doing it with a very specific agenda in mind, calling him smarmy. So what Musk and Ramaswamy seem to be saying here is that, look, there are aspects of cultures outside of America that breed excellence. And when people come to this country as immigrants, because he's also saying it was immigrant families too. When immigrant families come to this country, they also breed excellence because they are so much more focused on success. If this is a function of immigrants, right? They're just saying immigrants. They're not saying rich immigrants. If it's just a function of immigrants, why in the world would this not apply to someone who has come into this country to work on farms, to pick peaches, to work in construction, to work wherever they are working? They have the same ethic, according to Vivek and Elon. Why should it only apply to the workers that they hire to bring in? I got no problem with allowing labor to have as much ability to enter this country as we do, or exit this country as we do with capital. Yeah. That's all well and good. And if we're to take their argument seriously, that there is a culture that these immigrants have that causes them to pursue excellence more than is in this country, then we should probably allow more immigrants in so we have more of that culture.
That's immigrants working hard to achieve the American dream is a trope that we've known our entire lifetimes here, right? But the culture is not something that's inherent. It's a reflection of not having, say, generational wealth like more white people do in this country than any other ethnic group. It's a function of the fact that they have been uprooted and are starting from scratch and have no choice but to work as hard as they can and to make as much money and to live and have kind of things like vacation or off time or family time much less than most Americans. And what the freaks like Elon Musk and Ramaswamy are saying are that they want more of that. They want to engender more desperation, whether it be via the threat of deportation for undocumented workers, or whether it be through programs like H-1B. They want to. It's not about inherent culture. It's about creating that culture of fear and desperation to extract as much as they can from a workforce.
It's about work or starve. Like, that's the culture here. And like Bernie, Warren Gunnels points out, who was like a Bernie advisor, I believe, the very first amendment Bernie passed in the Senate would have substantially increased the fees companies pay to hire H-1B guest workers to fund scholarships for Americans pursuing degrees in science, engineering, and math. It passed 59 to 35 in 2007, but did not become law. And people have done studies on this, that the H-1B program has moved people domestically to not seek those fields because it is suppressing the wages, regardless of how much these people make. And you might feel like it's the same thing with sports. It is serving the capitalists at top, both the people picking stuff out of fields and the guys doing code for 80 hours a week. The people who are making money off this are capitalists. That's why Trump used illegal labor in Trump Tower. That's why Elon likes these programs, because he can say, oh, you don't like this? See ya.
Exactly.
Sayonara.
Exactly. And that's why healthcare
and let's be
functions
clear,
the way it does in this country, too.
If what Vivek was saying happened, they would not be, they would just be paying those H-1B laborers less money.
Yeah.
They would. That's the point. They have the ability to just, it is a race to the bottom, because they know that these imported workers will take 5% less of whatever the market rate is, maybe 10%. And and if you know that you're competing against their ability to import workers specifically for a job that you're competing for, you know that you are going to lose because, people are just as smart everywhere. If they get the proper education. And B, then it just comes down to which one of us is going to be cheaper.
The other thing about a race to the bottom that Sam Seder points out here is with the racism, right? There is a segment of the country that really does believe this isolationist stuff, this, whether it's white nationalism or just overt racism in other forms. And I'm not sure that Trump necessarily believes in it. I don't think Trump has any ideology, but he understood that he needed to gin up that base of people, inflame those sentiments in order to win. Now that he has, you're hearing the voices of these people who are, they're been cheering, and now they're saying, well, wait a minute. I mean, what about what we voted for? And so once you've inflamed a mob of people, that mob doesn't just go away now that you've crossed a line and you're going to take office again, right? That mob expects results, and you have to manage those mobs. And guess what? Donald Trump's not particularly good at managing anything. So it will be interesting, and I hope not too bloody and painful, to see what happens in the aftermath of this, when this guy and his team of oligarchs actually takes the wheel again, and some of these things begin to play out, because it's not going to satisfy the meat and potatoes part of the party that were so gung-ho and willing to storm the Capitol last January 6th. It is going to favor the increasingly small number of extremely rich. And that's just how capitalism plays out in its late stages. But blah, blah, blah from me. I want to know what you think in the comments.